Welcome to A Meaningful Marketplace.
I'm Sarah Masoni from Oregon State University's Food Innovation Center, where I've helped countless dreamers launch their new food products. It's the science of taking a food delight from the kitchen to mass manufacturing and still keeping its great taste. That's what I do. I've been called the woman with the $1 million palate, although I haven't tried to cash that check yet. Listen in weekly for real-life stories.
I'm Sarah Marshall, owner of Marshall's Haute Sauce and author of Preservation Pantry, modern canning from root to top and stem to core. I love inspiring business owners to get started on their journey, encourage folks to be part of their local community, and I'm excited to help business owners tell their stories. Hello and welcome to Meaningful Marketplace. We are here weekly to discuss the journey of food entrepreneurs. We're glad you've joined us today as we bring you stories of hope and inspiration. This is Sarah Marshall, owner of Marshall's Haute Sauce.
And Sarah Masoni of Oregon State University's Food Innovation Center. Hi, Sarah Marshall.
Hey, Sarah. It's good to see you. Good to hear from you. Tell me about what you got going on this week.
I don't know. I'm just hoping it doesn't snow, honestly.
Yeah, we're having some weather here in Portland. Our whole city kind of shuts down when we do get snow. So I'm hoping that we don't, because I have the night market this weekend. It's one of my only events in February. February is kind of notoriously slow for all businesses, really.
Mm-hmm.
Unless maybe you've got some kind of Valentine's Day pull. But, for most of us in the city, it's like I have one event in February and it's this weekend. And so if it snows, I will have 0 events in February. So I'm kind of hoping it doesn't. But my daughter is really hoping that it does because she wants school to be canceled. So
I saw your daughter doing some Instagram advertising with you.
Yeah. So I mentioned this a couple of podcasts ago, and it goes through the whole month of February, but we're doing something called Marshall's Haute Sauce Downtown Days. We're trying to help get people to go downtown. The Oregonian actually just released a article saying 30% less people are going to and supporting downtown businesses. So we want people to go support our businesses downtown so our downtown doesn't die. So I hid hot sauce around the city at some of my favorite spots and my family's favorite spots. You give them a password when you go there to enjoy whatever it is that they are selling. Some are restaurants, some are shops. You can look at the link in our bio to find out what they all are and what the secret password is. And then there's also hidden gift cards in some of the gold envelopes that are attached to the hot sauce.
Ooh,
so
kind of like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
It's just like a fun little scavenger hunt. We went all around downtown to our spots and dropped sauce to them, and then enjoyed dinner or shopping or whatever. And then we'll be out throughout the month of February to also continue to support all of those places. And then we found a bunch of new places too. Of course, I wish I could drop it off to all the spots in the city, but we picked 9 locations. So check it out. Go support downtown and have some fun in our city because there's lots of fun things to do.
That's good advice.
Are you going to go to any of the spots? Have you checked them out, Sarah?
Well, I was looking at the list and I need to talk with my fam and see if we can go to one of them.
Perfect.
Well, it's very fun.
Hopefully I see you a few places this month because we'll be out and about at the same time. We've been partnering with the Regional Food Business Center to bring you guests from our 6-state region. We're currently meeting with business owners from the great state of Oregon, which is, of course, our own state. We don't have a co-host with us today. It's just Sarah and I. Sometimes we bring in some experts. We will have another Oregon co-host next week. It will be someone from the Department of Agriculture. So that will be a fun co-host to have. We would like to encourage you to connect with your state by signing up for the Regional Food Business Center newsletter. It's a breeze to sign up. Just go to the Northwest Rocky Mountain Regional Food Business Center.com, hit connect with us, and choose the button to receive newsletters. And we want to thank our sponsor for supporting the Meaningful Marketplace. Thank you for helping us spread the word about small business owners and entrepreneurs. Let's hear a word from our sponsor. The Northwest and Rocky Mountain Regional Food Business Center is the proud sponsor of the Meaningful Marketplace podcast, giving a voice to food from across the 6-state region of Colorado, Idaho, Montana, Oregon, Washington, and Wyoming. The Food Business Center supports Northwest and Rocky Mountain food industry makers as part of the USDA's National Network of Food Business Centers, supporting a more resilient, diverse, and competitive food system as a go-to source for small and mid-tier food and farm businesses with a focus on underserved communities. providing education in the form of technical knowledge, business programs, and industry news. We sponsor trade shows, meetups, and conferences to connect growers, producers, retailers, distributors, and processors, all to stimulate business and raise the standards of our storied food industry. Join us as we travel through the 6-state region, learning more about food makers, food hubs, and food systems. Visit the website at Northwest Rocky Mountain Regional Food Businesses.com to get connected. And I would like to introduce our guest today. I have with us Patrick Fay from Hentze Family Farm in Junction City, Oregon. Welcome, Patrick.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here.
We're so excited to have you on the show. We really like to connect our listeners to you through social media and online. Can you tell us your Instagram, your website, things of that nature?
Absolutely. So, classic website, hentzefamilyfarm.com. Find us on Facebook is probably the most active social media aspect, Hentze Family Farm again. And then on Instagram at Hentze Family Farm. The walk-up eatery is the Cook Shack at Hentze Family Farm.
Perfect. And you run a lot of that social media for the fam, right?
Yeah, so the farm one is a joint effort. The Cook Shack is all me. And then same thing for the Facebook there. You can kind of tell when they're my wife, when it's more like dirt, hands in the dirt, like stuff, actual farming, and more it's value added or ready to eat stuff there. It's, because that's what I do. I do anything I'm asked to around here, as anyone does on a small family farm. I will poorly tractor a pasture if grandma needs me to do it, but mainly what I do is concentrate on the harvest, post harvest at the walk up eatery.
Perfect. Well, let's tell us a little bit about the farm. So you're part of what would be the 5th generation of the Hentze family farm. Is that correct?
That is 100% correct. Well
Cool.
done, Sarah.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about who else is there on the farm with you and when it started and how you became involved.
So I'm raising the 6th generation. You missed one of them. You guys both had your eyes on as one poked in to see what we were doing. Their great great grandfather Johann Hentze founded the farm in 1902. If you've been down to this part of the South Willamette Valley, that's where they had the Scandinavian Festival. So there was this en masse like migration to the area of Scandinavian families. The Hentzes are from the Faroes, and then but all around here, Rasmussens, the Sorensens, and so then in the 70s they started doing real celebration of that culture. But it really kind of had its roots here at Hentze Family Farm before the dam went in. The back 40 would flood, and that would be the watering hole, and they would have a big like picnic here, and would be all of the Scandinavian families. So the birth of agritourism right here at Hentze Family Farm.
That's so cool. I wish there was still those celebrations. It sounds like a big pool party, kind of.
Yeah, and you can tell, like when you look in this part of the valley where you see those undulations in the pasture, that's all floodland. That all is a direct result of the yearly floods that, before the dams were put up. And we still will occasionally flood.
And so your role within the farm is to add value-added products and also cook the food for the Cook Shack, right? Can you talk a little bit about your experience with food prior to being on the farm?
Yeah, so I started off in food service in the United States Navy. So whenever you get sent to a boat and to work for Uncle Sam in the Navy, they're gonna send you to the kitchen and go peel potatoes or whatever, wash dishes. And so I kind of got into kitchens that way. And then when I got out, I just kind of continued that and, had like a bussing job. And then said, you won't shut up. Why don't we give you a section and you can wait tables? And so then I started taking tables. And as I started to cut my teeth in that industry, I ended up in the Seattle area. And I ended up working for Jackie Roberts at the Pink Door. And she's one of the like icons in farm to table in the nation, but for certain in the Pacific Northwest. First, as far as I know, the first chef to put a named farm on her menu. And so I walked into that wet behind the ears, and we had Billy's Farm from Tenasket on there for our heirloom tomatoes and things like that. And so I was kind of brought up in the table side marketing aspect of farm to table. And so when this opportunity came around to take that farm to table experience and bring it back to the farm and do that not just through like the kind of backed into the chef and the eatery part of it there. I came down to launch a value-added product through, a farm craft beverage company. We had wild hops. We have wild hops on the farm, and we have all these great fruits. We have some connections in the craft beverage business, and we're like, hey, and they needed help. They desperately needed help. Grandma Karen fell into a coma in 2018 and was incapacitated. And she's the backbone here, And so my wife said to me, family needs help. And I said, okay, let's go.
Well, I'm glad you ended up there with the family and that you're enjoying creating things there at the farm. And Sarah, you have worked with Patrick a little bit. Is that right?
Yeah, we spent some time on the phone trying to figure out some of the challenges he's been working on. I don't know if you feel comfortable sharing that with our audience today,
Oh,
Patrick.
of course. I think that's
Tell us the story
of why this podcast is amazing. So like I'm listening now, and so it's really interesting, and it also lets this episode is happening because of the Marshalls. Devery comes and eats at the cook shack.
Yeah, so that's just for our audience. That's my husband, Dirk's parents. They come and support the farm and love Patrick and his food. So he was suggested to us, and they knew that he was trying to work some stuff out. So we connected through that.
Yeah, so that's that's amazing to me because I've been down here for a few years trying to figure it out, but it took Devery is one of the ones that amplifies the message. What does a small business need? They need that engagement on social media. They need every post, like, share. I mean, my 9-year-old and my 5-year-old tell you exactly how to do it. Like, subscribe, and share. But it doesn't always resonate with even the people that are loyal guests to you. Like, comment, subscribe, move that message forward. And so Devery would be one of the most active followers of the Cook Shack. And then she's so sweet, and she brings by 4,000 bottle caps. Go, hey, these are extra. I know you're trying to do some sauce because I make this blueberry ketchup that everybody's after. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to get it into a bottle too. And he's like, maybe you can use these. And I'm like, I don't have any bottles, but you never know. And so then I started looking for Haute Sauce, and I see like, oh, she's up there. She's got her stuff at Renee Erickson's joint. I know Renee. And then I worked at her competitor at the White Swan Public House. And I'm like, okay. And so I sent an email to Sarah going like, hey, man, do you co-pack? And she's like, no, really. But hey, check this out. And I've known about the Food Innovation Center. And I probably, if we dig down through it, we could go and say, like, here's my flare up going, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. But, the prohibitive factor to me is money. The Food Innovation Center doesn't just give things away, and it's a great aspect. And so I'm trying to figure out how to make that work in a way that doesn't put what we're already doing here. That's the real conundrum. I don't have the extra pennies to put the Innovation Center to work for me where it's really going to benefit us without putting the farm. Like right now, we're trying to launch our CSA. We're trying to because it's the big secret for this small farm is getting it from, and I listen like so many of those other podcasts here, they're like, okay, they figured out through value-added product, you go from seasonal revenue to year-round revenue because bills, as everyone knows, are year-round. And that's, but it's interesting. I hope what I'm saying is making sense that here I have found myself back kind of where I started in the capable hands of the Food Innovation Center. And I'm looking forward to furthering that relationship and what it does for this farm.
Yeah, I just, real quick, let's give a shout out to Devery for sure, because she not only supports you on social media, but also us. She listens to all of our podcasts, and she always likes and shares all of our stuff. And I know she's going to listen to this one as well. So thank you, Devery. We love you and appreciate you. Thank you so much. But yeah, we hear this from farmers and from small business owners a lot. So, anytime that you are starting a new project, as a business owner or as a farmer, it costs money. And so you have to figure out, is that risk worth it? Is investing in this thing worth it? But we do find with farmers that when they add a value added product, it does make it so that they have income at times that there's nothing growing on the farm, which is key, right? But
Absolutely.
you still have to come up with that money to be able to start that business. So I do know we've talked about it a little bit. I'm not sure if there's any grants being offered right now through the Regional Business Center for Oregon. Sarah, do you know if there are? Because
There are, you should look on the website and select
I'm
connect with us. Did you
I'm
happen to
working
do that?
hard on business builder grants.
Okay, good.
I go
yeah,
from like trying to chart out my day here. You know, I have to finish up taxes. I have to take the girls to and from all things there. I'm trying
yeah.
to
Ooh, you're very busy.
do the crop planning for this
Mm-hmm.
year. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the other thing that this podcast taught me was, and I'm gonna mess up the Arionberry,
Arioni,
Arioni, Aronia,
Aronius,
Aronia.
Aronia, Aronia berry.
I'm like, Grandma, you won't believe what this podcast told me. So, like, one of our big crops is walnuts here, and walnuts, of course, for those familiar in Oregon,
Mm.
are one of the most heart smart type of additions to anybody's diet. And then listening to the podcast about the aronia berries and their sturdiness. When Debbie comes, she gets a fruited lemonade. That's kind of the inspiration for all of this. The fruited lemonades are made from the farm's harvest. They get vacuum sealed and put into 5-pound bags that classically grandma's going to turn into jam for a value added product, or we're going to work with somebody that maybe has a side hustle at the fair, you know, the county fair or something like that. And I just said, hey, can I start making lemonade with these at the cook shack? But we tried to expand the uses of that, and something like the Arona berry. How many different ways can we get that to be a part of what we do here? And hearing about its versatility and its strength and through your podcast, I'm like, okay, grab me. So as we try to chart things out for the season, there we're trying to expand more. We're trying to plant more, but we have to keep that with smart plantings, and you know, sturdiness of crop is a big time consideration. So we'll see if it gets planted, but I was voting for it.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I'm so glad that you find inspiration from our podcast. I mean, that's really a huge reason why we do this, because we find that everybody's kind of working alone individually in their own spaces, on their own farms or in their own kitchens, and they don't always get all of the ideas and the knowledge and the community that really helps to try new things. And part of being a business owner is trying stuff. It doesn't always work, but if you can do some kind of low risk things, that's generally what I do with my business. If I have an
Yeah.
idea for a new product, I'll launch it on a really small level that doesn't cost much money, so that there's not a lot of risk involved. And then I see if people buy it at the farmer's market. And if they buy it, then I go bigger. And if they don't, then I try something else. And so that's kind of, you know, a way that I do it. And because you have that farm stand and that cook's shack and the place to kind of test things out on customers, it's nice to just kind of be able
That's
to do
100%
things.
it. It's a
Yeah.
test kitchen for value added product. It's you nailed it exactly what I'm trying to push forward here. Even to the
Mm.
point, should we get the craft brewery going here that we want? The craft brewery is a 1 barrel system, so we're never gonna do gang. But if we did 300 barrels a year, that would be like, whoa. And for people who don't know about brewing, that's nothing. Like Freem probably does 75,000 barrels a year or 100,000 barrels per year. But it gets us to another layer of service here when people come up to the cook shack and they go, oh, I'll get the pulled pork sandwich with the black cherry barbecue sauce. So what do you have on tap here? And I go, oh, here's what I got. And because we can't do that normally because we're in actual exclusive farm use zone
Mm.
land. So, and this is another thing too. The needle is moving on it. You know, there is another farm cafe bill. It was the legislative agenda was just released this last week. So we'll see what happens on that. But all farmers that engage in agritourism, which are usually smaller farms where they want to do events, you can't monetize the sale of booze at those events legally, but more than 4 times a year, 90 days apart, unless you're already a winery or a farm brewery or a cider business or something. So that's what the little brewery gets us to, is just
Mm.
saying yes to people that are here that want, a cold Oregon made beer on a hot Oregon August day. And that's been really a tough slog to get through, but it's what we're after. But even that little brew house will just mainly serve as test kitchen. Okay, is the cherry sour, the goza, is that gonna work? Is that gonna be a hit, or is it gonna be, the strawberry mint hard seltzer, or is it this,
Hmm.
And I've been lucky to work with at the Cook Shack. I'd never made a barbecue sauce in my life. And here we had all these black cherries, and we used to do a cherry festival before the Pandingo. And I said, well, I wanted to do something that made people think, because we have one of the only small format cherry pitters in the state. It's 100 years old. It's cast iron, and all the little orchards, the small farms that have like 3 acres of Montmorency's, or these other cherries, they come to Gordon and Karen and like, hey, you pick my cherries. And so, well, I want people to think about cherries. I want to come to the Cook Shack. Okay, pulled pork, black cherry barbecue sauce, spicy slaw, and it's all farm to table and right there as your experience farm moment. And but I never made one until I tried it, and it ended up people like really loved it. And then we have beekeepers on the back 40, so I started doing, we smoke when I run my barbecue smoker. I smoke from apple wood out of our orchard, so even the smoke is farm to table when you come get a barbecue chicken sandwich. And the chicken is everything, is all the proteins are local. That's what I wanted to be. That's what Jackie taught me up at the Pink Door. That's why I have a honey chipotle barbecue sauce with that, because we have beekeepers here. So, and then of course, this is how, like, can I buy that? And I can't sell it to them because it's not under farm direct. And so I have to get I might be able to get away with the blueberry ketchup. I came up with a blueberry ketchup recipe working with a chef doing farm dinners here. And he's like, you guys got so many blueberries, you should do this blueberry ketchup. And so I started doing sweet potato fries and blueberry ketchup. And people kind of lose their mind at first. They're like, blueberry ketchup, that sounds horrible. And I'm like, there's no tomatoes involved. Tomato ketchup is just a savory jam. This is a savory jam. Let me get you some sweet potato fries. You put that there, it's magic. And people are like, give me this, sell me this. And I can't, except for in the ready to eat part. But that's where I know that the Food Innovation Center is going to help me see these recipes through. I want to can the hard seltzer with them, but like I've got all these other things that are what I consider tertiary, but have all developed because this farm acts for me as a test kitchen, as a incubator of a value added product. Hasn't been realized yet. It's mostly been this glint of, dream in my eye. But if we can get it done the right way, the girls have something that the mantle that they can pick up, whether it's with their fingers in the dirt, growing amazing berries and produce in the Southland family, or if it's cooking in the kitchen and building smiles that people come and sit on the lawn and enjoy what we're doing, and everything in between.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, let's see if Patrick has any questions we can try to help answer and get him going where he needs to go. We'll be right back.
Oregon State University's College of Agricultural Sciences and the Food Innovation Center are proud sponsors of Meaningful Marketplace. With a mission to serve all Oregonians, we are committed to giving voice to those whose food and agricultural stories are not always heard. By providing access and opportunity for a more diverse and just food system, because food brings people together.
All right, Patrick, have you heard that you can get a variance with your county license to be able to package and sell products into wholesale distribution?
Not on that particular variance. I have to get a variance this year for the Cook Shack to go from a licensed. I'm basically it's licensed as a food truck, but I've got to get it into a 0-seat restaurant, and then I also have to get another variance because when I cook the pulled pork or the barbecue chicken, I do a big cook, and then I vacuum seal and I maintain things there. And our local Lane County Health is amazing. But because those are zero oxygen format things, I have to get approval on it. The variance for selling direct consumers that I want to learn more. Any way I can sell
Okay.
something I'm curious about. I have had the ODA here trying to work with me on how the cottage industry can work with the farm direct, and it kind of might just be that it passes through a I make it here, not in the cook shack, here in the house, and then I sell it to the farm and then it can be on the shelf. We're trying to figure it out. I've got people that are, and it's one of the things that I really truly love about the state of Oregon. A lot of the people that are involved in oversight, whether it's the OLCC or ODA or Lane Health, they really do hold your hand through it. Land management is a whole other thing, the zoning kind of stuff like that. But a lot of these other regulatory aspects are like, here, let me help you. Here's how it's done. Here's where you need to be. So yes, please send me anything on anything that will expand the economic opportunities here. I know that the pickle bill got some expansion recently. I haven't been able to divine where it really benefits what we're doing here. Those two barbecue sauces that I mentioned, and I've made my own ketchup from scratch from tomatoes that we've done here. It's really good, but I don't have that methodology down to an exact science yet where I could take on like Portland ketchup or something like that. And what I need is a base ingredient for the black cherry barbecue sauce and the honey chipotle barbecue sauce that will maintain the consistency to my guests. So I use Heinz, and I get the big gigantic cans of it. And it, to me, it is black pepper. It is just a base ingredient that ensures the consistency of my product. We don't grow enough tomatoes for me to get, the scale ketchup operation where I can supplant that. And so
Mm.
that's, I mean, there's probably a couple other things in there, but that's the big thing because of the weight in my batch of barbecue sauce making, where it is not allowed into the farm stand as a farm direct product. But the blueberry ketchup, where it's the portions of ginger and lime do fall under the new pickle bills, like that's acceptable portion there. So that would count. So I'm working on that.
One suggestion that I was going to make is I do some consulting sometimes with restaurants up here, and sometimes people want to sell something that's very popular on their menu, like a hot sauce or a ketchup or a pickle or whatever it is that people want to take home with them, but they're licensed through the health department, not the Department of Agriculture, so totally separate. So sometimes what people can do is just to see if customers are going to be into it, to see if they're going to buy it, to see if it's going to be something that's popular, that is, worth that other certification you have to do through a totally separate organization, is that, if you keep it refrigerated and you're selling it with a short expiration date to your customers that are already there buying your food, it's kind of a good way to just sort of test it out and see if customers are going to want to buy it. But you don't have to go through all of the other licensing for a shelf-stable product. It can be a refrigerated product that you're just selling from the restaurant. So that's sometimes a way that people will do that here, just to see if it's worth the investment, to see if that many customers are going to want to, take home your ketchup. And, because wholesale is like a totally different, bigger door to open. So sometimes it's nice while you have those customers that are coming to your shop already, just see how it goes without doing all of the other stuff.
Oh, I dig it. I stay so focused here on the farm, but I'm trying to be more of an appearance in Portland. Portland is, I think, a real important kind of jumping off spot for the next things that are available to us. The Food Innovation Center is there. So I'm hoping you guys see our Sarah Masoni sees a nice bit of me. I was up there recently for a reverse pitch for other organizations. The Food Innovation Center was represented there, put on by Oregon Entrepreneurs Network. So I got to finally meet Dr. Marsha Walker there, and
Oh, good.
yeah, which is cool. Like I've been connected to her through LinkedIn. The first level of success here, it seems so far away, it's going to be childcare. I had no choice but to bring the 5-year-old with me. So my future brand ambassador, she was there. But Portland, so I definitely hold my hand on that, Sarah Marshall, because where you think that people would be interested, I'll schlep that around. Jackie Roberts, as I was mentioned at the Pink Door, she was one of the first stops for Mama Lil's. Mama Lil's used to bring those, I can't remember his name, but he used to bring those peppers, those pickled peppers, to Jackie in repurposed Vlasic pickle jars. I remember, this is the late 90s, and now look at him. He's everywhere,
Yeah.
and same thing with Dimitri's Bloody Mary seasoning,
Mm-hmm.
that was a bartender that was doing good things, and everybody loved his Bloody Mary seasoning. He's probably not doing as gangbusters as Mama Lil's is, but I mean, it's definitely as a products that I saw as a waiter, schlepped from restaurant to restaurant, and now been on shelves in the Pacific Northwest for years.
I think there's a farm that we've had them on the show a couple times. They're Sarah's Pals. They make vodka out of the whey from their cows.
Oh,
And
I saw.
so,
I looked them up. I reached
Yeah,
out.
TMK
yeah,
theory.
What a
TMK.
cool thing! What a cool concept.
And I think that, what I've found from all of our makers and our guests that we have on the show is that people do really want to share information and help people out. So, they've kind of done something that you're thinking about doing already, which is that they have an ice cream shop. People come, they get their ice cream, they visit the farm, then they also sell alcohol and make alcohol there. So, when you're wanting to do your seltzers and brewing with your fruit, they kind of have that model in place. So even just reaching out to them and saying, hey, is there anything that you can suggest or that you learned along the way that would help? I'm sure that they would, give you information, or even just go to their creamery and check it out, because it is very cool. It's not too far from you.
Well, and you don't have to convince me too hard to go try some
I
ice
know.
cream.
Well, and your kids would love it too, because they can meet. They call them celebrities. Isn't that right, Sarah?
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
They're like,
celebrities, that's
yeah,
right.
yeah. The kids will dig it.
I reached out to both ones. I'm waiting to hear back. I'll probably nudge them soon. I don't want to be pestering too much, but it is squeaky wheel that gets the grease, so I will be knocking on every door I can. So like I'm trying to concentrate a bit with launching our CSA program, help grandma with that, and we're trying to figure out. It's crazy. You asked if where people could get things from us online, and really right now it's pretty simple. We're trying to move more products to our online store, but right now you could purchase shares of our CSA via the website, or you could find the link in the bios of the Instagram and social media pages. You could buy our collectible T-shirt. You can get some swag. We just launched a T-shirt campaign that has. We try to celebrate women here because it is women that move the things forward. I might be the reluctant face of everything here, but it is Grandma Karen and my wife that are the backbone of what happens here. It's Oregon Women in Agriculture. So this year's shirt is kind of a twist on Rosie the Riveter. So
Oh, that's cute.
it's got a U pick, but instead of it's got an apple in her picking hand there.
Yeah, if you want to just direct people one more time to the website so they can go on and see what they can purchase.
HentzeFamilyFarm.com, or via any of the links on our socials, on Facebook at Hentze Family Farm, on Instagram at Hentze Family Farm, and that's HENTZE, Hentze. And then you can also find my personal Instagram pages of what I do with value added product at the farm at the Cook Shack at Hentze Family Farm.
I love that you call it the Cook Shack.
Yeah, thank you. I stole that from the late great stepfather-in-law who is here, and that's what he called it. And I just kind of took it. He didn't brand it as that, but I'd taken that and kind of run with it a little bit there, and people seem to respond really well. This last season was our best season yet at the Cook Shack, and it really was a celebration of the local. Every Sunday night was all the small farms from around the area, the Harpers, and they're a bigger farm. The Harpers are big in the part of the Farm Bureau and the ODA, the Rear Sleeves and the Bodkers all have. It was a Sunday farmer dinner almost every weekend through the farm area, and it really meant a lot to me. And because they're all old tractor drivers and they're shucking and jiving with each other on the lawn there, and it was a bit of old home kind of stuff like that because they could go anywhere, and here they were coming out to the Hentze's.
Well, we love what you're doing with the farm and that, you're a women-run and led farm. We always appreciate that and that you're doing really fun things and bringing new life and new products to the farm. So we're glad that you could come on the show today. I do want to tell people when the Cook Shack is open and what the address is if they are in the area so they can come visit you. So what is that location?
What a great idea, Sarah. Yes. Generally, we are open to the public June 1st through Halloween. We are located in the South Willamette Valley at 30065 Hentze Lane, just like the name of the farm. And that's in Junction City, Oregon, which is equidistant from the University of Oregon and Oregon State University. We're at the epicenter of the Civil War here in Oregon sports. Our cornhole bags are half beaver, half ducks when you come and play lawn games. But yeah, we're just 20 minutes north of downtown Eugene.
Perfect. Well, Patrick, I'm so glad we got a chance to chat with you today. Thanks for coming on the show, and I'm sure we will be connected in the future.
Oh, and look what Dr. Walker gave me.
Oh, that's great.
I got swag from the little meeting there too. And then Debbie gave me a little teeny bottle of the hot sauce for oysters that you do at Walrus and Carpenter, which is amazing, Sarah. Great job on your product.
Thanks.
It really is. Yummy.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
A bit spicy, but I'm okay with that.
Well, we want to thank you for listening to the show, the Meaningful Marketplace podcast. You can come and review us, please, on Apple Podcasts and iTunes. You can follow our Instagram or our YouTube at Meaningful Marketplace Podcast. You can call Sarah and I or text us with questions at 503-395-8858. And we couldn't do this without our fantastic team at Joy of Creation Production House. Thank you to Dave, our production coordinator, and Haley, our audio engineer. We will be back next week, everybody. Bye.
Bye for
Bye.
now.